Scariest month of my entire life. Like, there were times where I thought I was gonna get killed by this person when I was only in 7th grade. They seem to know where I'm at. In order to tell this story, I have to start at the very beginning. Hey, it's Crystal. We've reached that time of the year that I like to call the point of no return. That means we're like more than halfway through October. Halloween feels like it's tomorrow, and then after that it's just holiday after holiday after holiday after holiday after holiday after holiday. It's just, it becomes a lot of holiday. I really wanted to embrace the Halloween season. Back to all my past Halloween. One Halloween, one year stood out to me. Actually, the whole month of October was the scariest month of my entire life. And this was when I was only in 7th grade. In order to tell this story, I have to start at the very beginning. So this might have been the end of September or maybe the beginning of October. I come from a Latina family. My mom's side of the family is from El Salvador. A big family that likes to hang out and get together a lot, and all the get-togethers are actually really fun. We would see them multiple times throughout the week, and there were times where we would see them every day. But weekend get-togethers were very common, very normal, where we'd have all the tios and tias and primos and everything, and it was always fun, but of course, I needed to have my own fun. Anytime anyone had an iPhone, I found that to be the most fascinating thing ever. And my uncle, being such an amazing guy, he knew that me playing on his phone would be so fun for me. He entrusted me with his mobile device.
Oh, this is time for me to make my own fun. This is an opportunity.
I don't claim to be the best person in the world. I know I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. I went into his contacts and texted everyone in his phone book saying, oh my god, this is awful, I love you, and I put a red heart. And this was everyone. Boss, I sent this to multiple ex-girlfriends. Yeah, this was a mistake. And I was only in 7th grade, so I didn't really know the gravity of doing this. I just thought it was funny. He got a hold of his phone. He was so bummed. Like, that was not a funny prank to him. It was, and I don't really remember seeing him get mad. He was just like, he just looked so sad. Like, I had just shattered his world. Like, he was getting replies, like instantly. Like, his boss was like, what do you mean you love me? Like, is this is gonna be a problem at work? Like, what? Ex-girlfriends being like, great, let's get together again. You know, ex-girlfriends that he tried to, like, get out of his life. It was just nuts. It was insane. But some time had passed, and I think he forgave me, and I forgot all about that. Back then, we did have a cooler October, a cooler November. And I had friends as neighbors that actually went to school with me, so there were times where we would walk to school. There were definitely many times that I walked home from school. And I had actually, this was the first year where I was starting to do this without my parents. 95% of the time they drove me home, and sometimes I think I walked with them, I don't know, but I do know that I had many friends that I would walk home with. I was making a whole ton of new friends. It was like getting like a new text from a new number every day, sometimes multiple times a day, because, you know, this is the age that we're all starting to have phones. One day I was walking home from school in October with some of my friends, and I got a text on my phone from an unknown number, which was not uncommon, and the text was very innocent, very nice. It was just like, hey, it was great to see you at school today. Right, so I was like, oh, this could be anyone. This could be anybody. Like, that didn't narrow it down. So I was like, oh, who is this? And then the text, like, replied to me kind of like shocked her, like, but I guess joking around, saying like, oh, you don't know who this is? Well, why don't you take a guess? And I remember I was with a friend of mine who was also in the soccer team and that went to school with me, and I was like, this is weird, right? Like, people just tell you who it is most of the time. Like, this is definitely someone who's trying to pull my leg at school. So I was like, who do you think it could be? And they were like, I don't know, honestly. That sounds like most of the kids at school, especially most of the boys, are like that. So I was like, okay. I answered back. I was very polite, especially since I didn't know who it was. A little voice in my head told me that it was someone I didn't know. So I kind of had that, because this was also around the time where my friends and I were obsessed with Pretty Little Liars. Like, there was definitely a moment in history where Pretty Little Liars
ruled my world.
I was on top of every single new episode. Like, I was there. They were my favorite. just grew a fear in me and all my friends, but it was like a fear slash fantasy that we would have our own A. So that's why when I got the text and the person didn't tell me their identity, that's the first place my mind went to, was like, oh my god, I might have my own A. And I think I even spoke about that with my friend that was there, and we laughed it off. Like, because also a big part of me was like, there's no way I have my own A. Like, I don't have an anonymous stalker. Days went by, silence, and I think I woke up the next day excited to get another text from this person, and I didn't hear anything. And I remember it was Friday, because remember I get another text. This one was definitely amped up from the last one. And I got it while walking home. I remember that. I got it while walking home. And I've been wearing a brown leather jacket all day at school. And the text said, I really like your brown leather jacket. Even though this was so soon in, that like fun feeling of like, oh, I might have my own A, changed completely to me being absolutely dead certain that I had my own A. And keep in mind, I'm only in 7th grade. So I'm like, what, I think 12? Don't quote me on that. Could have been younger or older, but I think I was 12. So that was horrifying to me. My alarms would just go off. The texts actually progress and progress and progress and progress, and I actually started to answer back like mean, to the point where I had to tell my parents about it because I was scared. I was like, hey, I'm getting texts from this number that I don't know. They won't tell me who they are. They seem to know exactly who I am. They seem to know where I'm at. Like I'll be somewhere and they'll be like, you're right here, and I'll be like looking around, like trying to find who could be around me. There were times where I thought I was completely alone. There were times where I had just been getting picked up by my parents.
Have a nice drive back with your parents.
I was like, oh my god. I told my dad, and he kind of laughed at me because he knew that I was such a big Pretty Little Liars fan. He was like, oh, like Pretty Little Liars, and he thought it was so funny that I was just so wrapped up in that world that I was like delusional, that I was like making a big deal of this problem, that it wasn't actually a problem, it was just a funny little situation. He said it's probably one of your friends who watches Pretty Little Liars with you. And then I started thinking about the friend who was with me the day I got the first text, and I was like, it's her. Like, it's her. She probably texted another friend and they were like in on it. Maybe it's like a whole group of people. I don't know. At that point I didn't know. At that point I was like, okay, maybe it's harmless. Like, the texts didn't stop and they would just become multiple a day. You know how you can like hear people's voicing in their writing, like people have a voice, like the voice would change. So like it started feeling like different people were texting me out of this same number, and I was like, this is really bizarre. This is a joke. It's kind of going far, and it's kind of mean. I had a lot of friends at this school that I really liked, and now this put me in a position where I was like really skeptical of people who were friends. I didn't know if they were doing this to make me like a joke, or if like there were literally a group of kids that were obsessed with me, that knew all this stuff. Like, even if it was a joke, you had to have known all these things about me. Bringing it up gave me excitement. Like, bringing it up made me feel like a Pretty Little Liar, like telling my situation, my hard struggles, like, oh, poor me. But when I'm dealing with it alone, it becomes this really dark and scary thing. Okay, and so one day my mom saw that I just couldn't take it anymore, and she sat down and she was like, Crystal, do you remember that night that you texted all your uncle's contacts? He told me that he wasn't going to be mad at you, that all he was going to do is get even. So he's been pranking you, and cousins have been also texting you. And I was like, okay. Like, I breathed a sigh of relief. But then I was like, but then some of this doesn't make sense, though. Like, how did he know I was wearing this? How did he know I was walking home? Like, how did he know all these things? And she was like, oh, we would tell him stuff. Like whenever you would go to school and you were wearing, like, a leather jacket in the car, like, we'd be like, yeah, she's wearing this and this and this. So, like, everyone was in on this but me. And, like, even cousins that were younger than me had a turn at the phone, like, texting me. So I didn't end up having a stalker, which I guess the most messed up part of the story is that I was actually disappointed. Oh, touche, good move. And then another part of me was like, but I really wish I had a stalker. And I know that's awful to say, but I mean, all my idols are these Pretty Little Liar girls that are dealing with A, and then once I found out who it was, it's like that whole little adventure was over. For a good part of it, I was like scared for my life. Like, there were times where I thought I was gonna get killed by this person. Oh well. Halloween hack, trick or treat and tell the person,
Trick or treat! I'm so happy today. This is like the best day ever. You don't understand. I love Halloween so much because Halloween is also my birthday.
Hey, you know what? For that, I'm gonna give you some extra candy.
Well, thank you for listening to my story. Please let me know if you have any really fun or crazy Halloween stories. I really, really want to read them. I really want to get in this Halloween mood. I know that we can do this together. So please tell me your funniest Halloween stories, your scariest Halloween stories, and your favorite Halloween stories. Also, tell me your favorite costume that you've ever been, the worst costume you've ever had, and the costume that you're possibly thinking of for this year. And I'll give you my opinion on what costume you should do. Not that I'm an expert or anything. Like, honestly, maybe my opinion is to guide you what not to do. But I don't know. We'll never know if we don't try. I hope that you do something spooky. Or not. Maybe not. I don't know. As long as you stay safe. All right. Bye.